Hello, welcome back to Live at Hive, and today we're going to be talking about how to encourage reading. So, I was wondering, have you guys read any books recently that you would recommend to fellow students or even adults?
Yeah, so there's actually a series. It's called a book series. It's called Shatter Me. It's a really good series. It's about like kind of mystery and adventures, kind of.
Recently, I finished rereading the Hunger Games series, and I would really recommend it to people my age because it's like a dystopian world book, and it has really interesting life lessons. I would say kind of also for them.
Yeah, recently I reread a lot of my books, mainly the Harry Potter series. I reread all of the books. I would recommend it to people of my age and all ages actually, because it's very interesting. It has lots of good vocabulary to boost reading and writing.
Yeah. So, do you guys have any genres that you would recommend to, let's say, younger ages? So, for example, I like murder mysteries, and I think it's really good for younger ages because it boosts creativity and like critical thinking because they have to figure out a murder on their own. So, do you guys recommend any genres for younger ages?
I actually do recommend one, like Swarit said. I recommend the murder mystery genre. Like recently, I read a book called A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and it's about this young girl. Her name is Pippa Fitz-Amobi. I hope I said that correct. And then she was solving this 5-year-old case called the Annie Bell case, and she did it for one of her her extracurriculars for school, and she solved the case. And I think it's really good for younger people because you also, like he said, you get to figure out the murder. Like you go on a journey along with her.
Yeah, then one I would recommend if it's for young kids like under 5, like kids who need to read a lot. It would be fantasy and fictional because those kids now, at that age, they would believe in fiction and fairies and all those fairy tales that are for younger kids mainly, targeting the younger audience.
And then not only murder mysteries, but there's also like adventure mysteries, like if they go to like somewhat like
Yeah,
forest or
because
something.
I heard a statistic where like younger kids are more like creative, and I think that murder mysteries would really help spark a creativity, or adventure stories would help spark creativity. So, what do you think a school should do to encourage reading to students? What do you think, Prisha?
I feel like yeah. So in every school, of course, you have a library, but they don't usually take like trips to the library like very often. Like we only go once in like 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe we should go there like more often. And like the teachers should like recommend books for the students. So my English teacher actually did that, and that was like really helpful for us because she gave us so many like great books from her like age. Like she's like 20, so like when she was our age, she read some books and she told us to read them, and they were like fun.
Yeah, schools could also dedicate like reading times. My school, my old school, they used to do that. It used to be like in the middle of a lesson, sometimes, or at the start of an English lesson. If the teacher sometimes randomly she just say it's like a reading lesson, so you just take a book and read. If you don't have a book, she has some books in the class for all ages. Very interesting books, which not picture books mainly, maybe the ones that are useful in classes. So the ones with vocabulary similar to Harry Potter. Yeah.
I also have an idea. I feel like in my school, in like using our library, they could like do a book fair where like every single kid from every single year group, they come down to the library and they see all the books that they want. Another way they can do it for like the kids who are like kind of lazy, they could like create a Google Form quiz, and then they could send it out asking what genre do you like, what kind of books do you like, etc.
Yeah. For example, in my school, they like made us go to the library and read for like 2 or 3 times a week for an hour or so. But then that kind of like stopped when we got to high school. So I think we need to promote it more in high schoolers because there's a statistic about like 70% of kids, I think it was, that dropped out of reading at around 11 or 12 years old. So I think that that's usually the age that they drop out, mainly because you have exams coming up, and you know you have to think about GCSEs or IBs or board exams, stuff like that. So is there any way you can think of that could help promote reading in middle schoolers to high schoolers?
Nowadays, middle schoolers and high schoolers, they don't pay attention to reading, mainly on their phones. They'll do anything if it's on their phones, they play music on their phones, anything. Like before, kids of my age, we would just do something physically instead of on the phones. So maybe one idea could be that something similar to reading. If people don't want to read physical books, they could read digital books online because now they are obsessed with their books.
Like ebooks.
Yeah, ebooks. They
Yeah.
can do that because it's more convenient because you don't have to actually get a book and read it. You could just use your phone. So
Yeah.
that's
There's like a device, it's called a Kindle, where you can read books, like any books you want at any time. And it's just a thin device where you can carry anywhere, so you don't have to carry like a pile of books wherever you go. Just
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
I also have an idea, like you both said, like they could do ebooks because there's like a serious misconception that like books are like boring and reading from paper is like boring. Then okay, then go online. You can like find a library online also, and you can just search up the book you want and read from there if you don't want to like buy a book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of misconceptions, I'm sure a lot of you think, I mean, a lot of people younger age, they think that movies are better than books because it's pictures and it's easier to understand. But if you think about it, the Harry Potter series, I think they missed out a lot of key details in the movies compared to the books. So I think if we encourage students to read books, they get a lot more details and they get a lot more creativity, right, in their mind, which helps them write a lot of different stories. Now, a lot of adults say that they read, but do they actually read? Is there any way to promote reading in adults? Do you have any ideas?
Yeah, I have an idea because I feel like adults they don't want to read like murder mystery genres, romance, thrillers, etc. So I feel like adults like more life lesson books that teach you more about life or how to adult or like parenting. So maybe they can like get books like around that kind of category.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then adults nowadays they're busy with jobs. They barely have any free time with their parents. They don't spend that much time with their kids because of jobs. They have deadlines and all those things. So maybe they're usually free on weekends. Maybe if families do this, like on weekend, maybe they can do something where they read for like an hour or something.
Like a
instead of
group
school.
family.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can like
Yeah.
help them create time for this.
Yeah, that would like encourage reading in both to like kids and adults. I think that's a pretty good idea. What do you think, Prisha?
So every weekend, me and my family, we do like a game night or a reading night. And on Saturday night, we just either pick up a book or we just play like board games instead of watching TV or movies. And like I feel like my parents, they're always like, oh, I read a lot of books. I read a lot more than you do. But like every time I'm looking at them, they're either on their phone or they're like work laptops. They're like
Yeah, my
never-
parents like they bought these two books for like them, like one book for my dad, one book for my mom, and they've just been sitting there on their like table since I think a few months ago.
Mm-hmm.
They never like got like back like to chapter 5. I was like, okay, I'll read it instead.
Yeah. So, do you guys want to have any questions from the audience?
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you feel books are going online, like a Kindle?
So that's a good question. I think that yeah, a lot of books are steering in the way of ebooks because like everything's going online, AI, everything is happening online now. So like you said, we could use a Kindle or ebooks or even like audiobooks. So if people don't want to like spend time reading, they can have an audiobook that can, you know, they can listen to on the bus or on the way to work or something like that.
I personally find ebooks like audiobooks, I don't like them. I don't like the idea of having them because I feel like a paper book, like just having that book in your hand, like the smell of paper, it's just really nice. You know, like being able to actually genuinely imagine like holding something in your hand. Because reading on your laptop, you're just gonna be like sitting like this, reading on your laptop. You know, having a book, you can just like find a cozy spot, actually like enjoy the book.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is that if you're going on long drives, you can't exactly read because then you're gonna get like car sick and you're gonna like wanna like vomit or something. So maybe like for if you're on a long drive, you can listen to audiobooks because you can't. It's not really recommended to read.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there's a small problem with audiobooks. With audiobooks, the problem is sometimes if it's an adult reader who is reading like teenager books, they read so fast and sometimes there's no setting. It's like you can't even understand what they're saying half the time because they're reading a bit too fast. Then there's no point. And some of the softwares they don't even have a function to slow it down. So then it's just a waste of money.
But I think that if we're like going into the world of AI, maybe AI will start reading books and they'll have a bit more, you know, customizable settings where you can slow it down, speed it up, and I think, I mean, it can even change accents at that point if we're doing it with AI.
Yeah,
So-
but AI is, it depends if it's like an AI voice model. Because if it's like regular AI, it would have no tone, it would just speak in the same boring
Yeah,
voice.
but like
and
we're
yeah.
talking about the future.
Yeah.
Like in the future,
They would
I
change-
think they would have like a proper voice
Yeah.
model where it sounds like a human reading it.
I think there are like some websites that do
No,
that right
already.
now.
Yeah.
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 Like, you
There
can
are.
change your accent, there's like speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you guys have any other questions?
Do you think books for reading will cease to exist? Like, will reading die?
That's a good question. I don't think reading is gonna die because me personally, I enjoy reading, And I think a lot of us do. So if we just encourage that to students, and like we said, schools, if they keep encouraging reading in like reading times, I think reading won't really die off.
Yeah, same. Because you have 8 billion people in the world. I don't think reading's gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, reading won't die definitely. But the problem is the way things are headed. People don't really pay attention to books anymore like how they used to because of screens. They don't care anymore. They have work, they have games to play, and other stuff to do, friends to chat with. Reading is not the top priority like before. People used to think as reading as like their top priority, the best thing to pass time. Nowadays, it's mainly video games and chatting with Google Meet. So
Yeah.
It kind of depends on who you are. If you're
Yeah.
a person that really, really likes to read, then of course you're going to read more books. But if you're a person that like prefers to just play video games, then
I think I have a strong feeling reading will not die.
I think it's important that we all encourage reading so that it doesn't die, because reading is personally, I think it's very fun. Yeah. So I think that's it for today. My name is Swati Maheshwari, and
My name is Isha Malik.
my name is Prisha Gandhi.
and my name is Shubho Bhavika. Thank you.
thank you.